Hi.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Cypher, and welcome to We Are ESO episode 7. We're doing a podcast today. I know initially we said that we weren't going to do one until next Saturday, but because of the ESO Live, we decided that this might be a good time to try to talk about some of the recent changes that have happened in the game, and that's what we're here to do. So today, I'm here with. I'm gonna do the introduction for you guys because just to make things quicker. I'm here with Fangrush, Lefty Lucy, King Richard, and we have one special guest today. Works. He plays on the Aldermary Dominion, and we brought him here just to get a larger scale, perspective on the recent changes that are happening in the game. So, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Basically, we're last episode we talked about the Thieves Guild and all the changes that are coming in, but we didn't get a chance to cover everything. So today we're gonna try our best to cover as many things that we missed and some of the other aspects of the changes that we didn't really get a chance to get into. So again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're gonna start off with basically a review of the We Are ESO that ZeniMax did. Was it yesterday? Right? Yesterday? It was Friday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the elephant in the room. We're gonna talk about the elephant in the room first, because that's a discussion that was addressed, or at least some people thought it was addressed in the last We Are ESO Live, and that is AoE caps. Vanguard, I'm gonna let you take the floor here. I want you to tell us basically what was said on the We Are ESO Live and how you feel about the what was said.
Specifically, I don't remember it too well. I just know they opened with AoE caps, and they wanted to know, he talked about how they made the forum posts and everything, and they gathered all the feedback, but I don't think they gathered it too well, because everyone said get rid of this stuff, and obviously they're not interested in doing that. They just kind of talked about other stuff other than AoE caps, like things they're putting in like Siege and stuff. And I guess the reason they don't want to do AoE caps is because they're afraid to do it, and what the repercussions and what could possibly go wrong. I guess people, they're scared of people getting slaughtered en masse, but honestly, we're going to have that regardless, kind of, with what's coming in. I think we're going to have it in a worse way than what they would do if they just removed AoE caps and bounced class skills rather than put in proc stat on top of a set. That's going to be pretty killer in this patch. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think they talked about it well, because for me, like, yeah, I always wonder, why is it 6? Why is it 6? Like, why not 12? Why not 24? I think that's where the discussion starts, like the logic behind why they do it. And they always bring up PvE, which is the biggest joke ever. Like, you don't need to bounce AoE caps around PvE. You can bounce PvE as an afterthought to AoE caps. So, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of an open.
So I'm gonna go ahead and, before I let Lefty and Richard and me explain my opinion regarding that, because we're predominantly solo or small group oriented players, and I just want to see the perspective of a larger scale player on the entire idea of AoE caps and how they affect the game. So Works, I'm gonna put you on the spot right here, pretty early in the stream.
Yeah, no worries.
How do you feel about AoE caps, and like, what's your perspective on them, and how do you feel ZeniMax is handling the situation?
I mean, I'm kind of with you guys. I believe, like, I think it's pretty horrible. They fixed one of the big things, which was barrier. So now it's not like you're only doing 25% damage to a barrier, because that was like the biggest empowerment, and it was just horrible. That's pretty much when I stopped doing the whole decibel thing. Like, I would love to see him removed, obviously, but it doesn't seem like that's really gonna happen right now. They might increase it, but who knows? Aside, I mean, Fingrush and you guys have covered pretty much everything, but one thing that I don't know if it's been touched on, and I don't know if it's possible or not, but making ultimates, at least ultimates, have no effect by that. So like negate only will negate 6 players. So 24-man group, 6 players, half of them are stamina. Let's just go with that. The other half are magicka, maybe not a healer. Like it should negate all magicka players that are in that bubble, I think. So I mean that's kind of how I feel about it, but I don't enjoy it like anything. It makes no sense to me. If you have more people, then why do you need the AoE caps too?
So, Eric, he gave a few reasons as to why they're not touching the AoE caps right now. And one of the reasons was, you know, if we increase or remove the AoE caps, we're going to get a situation where one ability can hit like an infinite amount of people, and there's going to be more calculations to be done to the server and all that nonsense. But the truth is, I'm pretty sure everyone in here will be 100% satisfied. Right now, okay, so when we talk about AoE caps, I just want to give some information to the audience, and correct me if I'm wrong about these numbers. The first 6 players take full damage, right? The next 12, is it 12 that take, is it a quarter of, is it half the damage that they take, or is it a, do
You
know the
take
numbers?
half from there. And
Is it
beyond
the
that,
next
a quarter
12?
up to 60.
Is it the next
I think it's more than 12. I think it's.
I think it's
18.
24.
24?
24.
Yeah.
So 6, 24, and then everything after that takes a quarter?
Right.
Okay, so the next 30 take a quarter. Okay, so the issue is right now, one ability has potential to hit up to 60 players. So they have to do 60 calculations. Not just 60 calculations, but then there's secondary effects that are caused by abilities. And then there's also, my mic is a little too low, but let me fix that real quick. There's secondary effects that are caused by abilities, but then you also have to calculate the 6 players that take full damage, then the next 24 that take half, and then the next 30 that take a quarter. But the thing is, we're not really bothered by the fact that we can't hit 61 people, because you're not going to have 61 or higher. You're not going to have many situations where you're casting an ability and hitting people for 61, hitting 60 plus people is what I'm trying to say. The fact is, when you cast an AoE into a large group of players, you're usually going to hit anywhere from 4 to really up to 24 players. So what we need is the ability to hit at least 24 players for full damage. And I would like to see the AoE cap actually dropped from 60 down to 30. If they don't want to remove it, drop it. Drop it from 60 to 30, but make it to where those 30 people take full damage. And I think that would fix a lot of the issues that we have currently. Because it would take away like half the calculations required, because you wouldn't be hitting as many people, but at least you're hitting more people for full damage, and that's what this game is like oriented around. It's about like burst. That's how you kill people. You have to burst them down. It's just the meta that we currently are in. Richard, you want to chime in on this, Lefty?
Go ahead, Rich.
I agree. Like it's a simple fix. Like even if they don't remove AoE caps, just like adjust the amount of mitigation that they give on the higher numbers. That is definitely something that should be in the game, but they're not touching AoE caps. And I said that before. They don't want to touch them. They avoided looking at a poll that clearly dominated for the removal of AoE caps. And they ignored it. Anything we talk about on AoE caps, they beat around the bush when it comes to answering it. So they really just don't want to touch or deal with AoE caps in any way, shape, or form. So I don't think, I don't know what to say about AoE caps, because I just don't believe they're going to touch them.
That's why I said go ahead, Rich. Because I'm in the same boat as you guys. I agree with what you're saying. All this stuff, that's good stuff. This should be changed. AoE caps should be changed. It's not something I'm passionate about because I've almost given up on it. Because like I don't think it's gonna happen. But even if it did happen, it's not something that I would be like jumping for joy over because, like when you look at or when I play ESO and like whenever I build my characters, I barely put any AOE's on my character. Like my build, I have one AOE and it's Leap, and I don't use Leap because it's an AOE. I use Leap because it's amazing. But like my builds are set up for 1v1s. Like I'm always set up for small scale fights. I don't like fighting the larger groups, so like I don't use AoEs anyway, so it doesn't really, it's not something I'm passionate about. I definitely see the perspective. Definitely think it should be changed. Couple of reasons: giving people the ability to combat the Zergs, and then also reducing the lag. So like, but it's just not something I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about some form of PvP where we don't have to worry about AoE caps. I want something where AoE caps isn't a problem. To me, AoE caps isn't a problem. The problem is Cyrodiil. The problem is the only PvP environment we have is a large-scale PvP environment. And then AoE caps is a derivative of that initial problem. So like, solve that first problem. Give me another option where I don't have to care about AoEs, and then I'm fine. Like, so that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I don't know, man.
So let's talk about what actually is coming in, because like they basically said that, oh, we're putting in the vicious set to counter these large groups, and we're also buffing up proxy debt. But okay, so let's just mirror this back real quick. We have a problem in the game, and this is going to apply to just about any problem that we have in the game, and you'll see this reflected on a lot of the issues that we've had. So we have a problem in the game. And I'm going to give you a list of problems and then a list of band-aid solutions that have been implemented and more band-aid solutions that are going to be coming in, okay? We had a problem where people were infinitely dodge rolling. So what did they do? Instead of attacking the resource problem where people weren't running out of resources, they put in a 33% increase to dodge rolling. And they did the same thing with streak, right? The 50% increase. So they fixed the problem with a band-aid that affected players who weren't infinitely dodge rolling, and now the players who did have the high regen can still dodge roll at a decent amount, but the players who had low regen can't afford to dodge roll that many times. Let's look at another problem. We had a problem with shields being too powerful. So what did they do? They nerfed all shields by 50%. All of them. Igneous shield, blazing shield, affected and destroyed because of the shield nerf. We had another problem. Okay, so on top of shields, they put in Shield Breaker to counter a problem. But what does Shield Breaker do for a Magicka build? Shield Breaker is only for people who are wearing 5 pieces of medium and they're wearing a specific set. So they're stamina builds. Stamina builds can counter Magicka builds. Let's look at another problem we have. We have a problem with Zerg. So what do? They buff up Proxy Debt and they give us Vicious Set. But the problem with this fix is it only applies to Magicka builds. So now only Magicka-oriented builds have the tools necessary to take out Zergs. Any problem that we've had over the past 6 months has been fixed or addressed with band-aid fixes that don't get the job done and just affect people. It creates new problems, and that's what is bothering me, because with these new fixes or these new changes that are coming in, it's not attacking the source at all. We haven't been attacking the source of any of our issues in this game for the past year. We've been just putting in things that will hopefully fix this or hopefully affect this playstyle, but it never works. It just never works, and we got to go away. We got to get ZeniMax to stop putting in band-aid fixes and actually address the issues at the source so we can get decent PvP again. And that applies to everything.
The reason why the adjustments keep coming in like that is because what they do is they pay attention to the forums, they watch things that we say in our streams. They really do, and they find out what the problems are, and then what they do is they take it back within their HQ and they try and come up with solutions. But the solutions they come up with never seem to work, simply because they're not playing the game like we are, and they don't understand what happens when you do certain things like this. Like if I was at the headquarters when they decided to add in the Vicious set, I'm like, okay, you got a Magicka setup that can Zerg bust. What about the stamina builds? And that's what happens every single patch. They see the problems and then they come up with their own solution, And that's the issue. They need to reach out to us. They need to talk to the community and really start making some progress on changes and stop coming up with these band-aid fixes, because everything is a band-aid fix. And it's half-assed whenever they do any type of fix within the game whatsoever. And like, it's a prime example. This new set, it only applies to Magic builds. So now what everybody is going to do is they're going to re-roll to Magic Sword, Magic Nightblade. Even there's just going to be a bunch of Magic builds. And that turns the game upside down. And the problem wasn't that Magic builds couldn't burst a Zerg. The problem is just overall Zerging. And they band-aid fixed it by allowing a set to enter the game, which only applies to Magic builds. Just like you said with Shieldbreaker. That only applies to Stamina build. There's a bigger issue. They added Shieldbreaker because of shields, not because Stamina builds needed a Shieldbreaker. And that's the whole issue. They need to start overall fixing things and stop half-ass fixing things. And I think the first step for that is for them to actually start talking to somebody.
Well said, King. They can't do this on their own. I think that's painfully obvious. And it sucks because we have to point that out. And by pointing it out, they're obviously insulted, and then they don't want to talk to us. So it's a vicious circle that gets nothing done. It's the problem. Even though it's meant to be constructive, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely have to agree with all you guys. And I feel like, I mean, they did a lot of changes at once, right? I mean, this set, I don't even know if was needed. The rapids change, that's the biggest thing. Like, you can't be in a ball if you can't do any skills. So I don't even know if the set was needed.
How does the rapids change affect? I'm being serious because they took they took a certain percentage away from rapids, but they gave that exact percentage.
That's not the change.
No. The way it
That
functions
was
is
just
very
movement speed.
important.
Right. So
What did I miss?
They swapped out the 10% to sprinting to, and off of rapids, so you can move the same speed if you're sprinting.
Right, exactly. That's what I.
But but they made it now, so if you do anything that affects an ally, so if you like cast a heal,
right. Yeah. Or
You
like
can't
if
heal
I do
any-
Igneous Shield or like Vigor or something.
Yeah,
then no
you
more
heal
rapids.
going through a choke.
Got it.
It's
You're
over.
pretty much opening yourself up to getting pinned down by everything and blown away. You're done. It's over.
Well,
You
it's not,
become
it's not
a,
over. You're moving slower, and it's gonna.
You're gonna
cause,
be
it's gonna
moving
make
slow. Like people are gonna know that. Like here's the thing: if you're moving through a choke with 20 plus people, and you don't heal, so everyone keeps rapids up, they're just going to blow you away with a combination of siege and a few people proxy dead, and it's not going to take many. If you do choose to go through that choke and heal, then they're going to hit you with just a bit of disable, and then you're screwed. Like you are just going to be wrapped up, you're going to get hit by oil or whatever the next layer of siege is. Because you don't even need to get hit by a lot of siege. You can point like anywhere from 3 to 6 siege on a choke point. And you're not going to need more than 2 or 3 of those siege hitting at once with, a couple proc stats. Proc stats so strong. I mean, it proves how... I don't mean to be insulting. It proves how inept they are. Like, I mean, proc stat is so much stronger than any ult in the game right now when you're using it against a big group. Somehow this is a good idea. I mean, the reality is, AoE caps, they're too scared to revisit it, man. It's like they have nightmares of the forums and all the feedback they got when this game came out, and they saw all the people crying about these endless bats going and these people with just crazy builds back in the day. This was a multi-layered problem, though. It wasn't just AoE caps. They're so scared to reintroduce that they don't want to touch AoE caps. So like this was a good idea. We put in AoE caps and we never have to go back to that again. But it's a terrible, idea. And what they're doing is they're just slapping on these things. If people, I can guarantee what they've put in right now is not going to stay how it is. It can't. It really won't work. It won't function well. And they're going to have more complaints than if they would just remove AoE caps, or as Cypher said, put it to 12 or 24. 12's still low. Like if we did it Cypher's way, which I would be with at this point to get something done. I think 24 is a good number. So say you can hit 24 people for full damage and nothing beyond that. 6 is just way too light for the way Cyrodiil functions. 24 would be a lot better because then you can actually deal with these raids. I mean, they did changes to Purge. They changed Barrier. Those are very relevant changes. They also changed Rapids, as mentioned, which is really, really important as far as breaching goes.
I want to talk about Rapids. The change to Rapids, yeah, it's gonna affect the defense and offense of a keep, but the PvP outside of the keep doesn't really change much.
Open world, it does a ton.
Does it?
Yeah, because when you're fighting large groups, I mean, you go
Mobility.
and you hit, and then everyone casts rapids, and you all run out while spamming heals.
Yeah, while
see.
they're running away, people are pounding Breath of Life with Rapids to keep people alive that are getting focused with single target. They're not going to be able to do that anymore.
But you know what
They're
that's gonna do, right? That's what's gonna happen.
People are gonna run speed bots.
No.
It's going to allow the smaller scale players to like run in and do something relevant to these groups. The groups
That's
will
true,
have to
that's
stop
true.
and deal with it.
But what? Okay, so as far as the shift in the meta that's going to happen with these groups is, for example, a sorcerer can put on shields while they're running away from rapids, and that's the same thing as basically defending themselves. So I assume that it's going to shift into a more Magicka based, Magicka based builds just in general because of this. Because stamina based builds, they rely more on the healing from their allies, especially if they're making a run, because they don't have shields to put on top of themselves. But anyone else who has shields on themselves is going to be able to keep themselves up while they're making a run for it. So it's going to shift even heavier into the Magicka side than we thought. Even like the solo players are going to be shifting towards Magicka because of this change, because of just all the other changes that have come in. But then the group players,
Except for the really stubborn ones,
like Lefty.
like me. I want to take just a little slight off topic. Famous, I'm gonna call you out. I love you, but you started off that little small rant by saying that Zos is inept. I want to kind of defend them a little bit. I've often had that thought, like, what in the hell are they doing? Like, what does their code look like? Who do they have programming this? Like, why can't you just do simple things, stuff like that? But I wonder, like, I don't think it has anything to do really too much with their skill. They may not have a lot of budget, they may not have a lot of employees or something like that, but I think it's kind of harsh to just be like, they suck. But like, these changes suck. I'll say that. But like, programming is hard, especially when you've got like, I mean, I can't imagine how many lines of code this is, and everything's intermixed, everything works like hand in hand, stuff like that. But like, I'm with you, dude. I'm with you, but I don't know. Don't be so mean. Don't be so mean, Tyler.
No, I hear you. Here's the thing. Like, I'm not even trying to be mean, Lefty. I'm really not. Like, I'm just trying to be blatantly honest. When I say inept, I mean they're ill-equipped to make proper solutions.
I like ill-equipped better. I like ill-equipped. I agree with you. I get
I'm
behind that.
I'm not against, like, their ability, because, again, it's like you said, we don't know their code, so we can't be like, this is so easy, why can't you do this right without bugs? That's not really our place to say that. What I'm saying is they're overcomplicating solutions, and they're putting in poor ones that they just constantly have to revisit. So every DLC, we have to come back and revisit issues. This patch we have, I don't want to get off topic, but there's a slew of things they're putting in, a lot of changes, the whole animation thing. And you can bet your ass there's going to be problems caused off of that we're going to have to revisit in Dark Brotherhood. That's resources they're going to have to dedicate to fixing problems they just put in for something we didn't need. It's just, why are you doing this? Just fix the game. You want to add things, you want to take it up a notch, that's great. Do that when you fix things, but when you have problems on your plate, fix the problems. Don't introduce a whole bunch of other stuff while trying to fix a problem. Be like, did we kind of fix it? I don't know. We threw 8 changes at it. Pray to God it did fix it. And that's what we get. Every patch this is one of the boldest patches they've done. It's good that they've added a lot of changes that are actually going to do something, because the last couple ones, man, they didn't really do anything to influence anything in Cyrodiil. They're realizing all the feedback is very negative on Cyrodiil. They're like, it's just laggy, it's terrible, it's all ball groups. I mean, Robal's even saying that. He calls them ball groups, man, and he even posted, I don't want groups, you know, going together, mindlessly bumping into each other with AoE. Great. So, like, the changes they're doing, again, there's some good ones, especially Purge, Barrier, Rapids. Like, these things are good, but the parts about it that aren't, again, I think it's just the whole caps, man. Like, for me, I prefer to have people play their classes because, like Cypher said, when you have people focused around debt, it's just going to shift things towards a meta of Magicka builds. So why do that? Why not have people just play their classes? Allow them to play their classes, bounce the classes, and everyone has a role out there. Because they totally took that away, and they're taking it away, and they're going to have to fix it. And honestly, they're not going to fix it as long as Magicka debt is focused on just being for Magicka builds. It cuts 4 classes out of the game in open world PvP, because you know it. Like you said, you don't have a lot of AoE in your bar. Try being a full-time Cyrodiil PvPer without AoE on your bar. You're just gonna you just get overrun, and you go, oh, this is bull. You know, so you don't want to deal with that.
Speaking of the animation canceling, like you said, it's going to cause issues, and I don't know if this is going to get fixed by the time it launches. It just seems like this is like a fundamental problem with the change that they put in. I'm going to play a video really quickly on the screen, and like you said, Fingrush, your friend ESO was able to like re-imitate this basically 9 out of 10 times, 10 out of 10 times, and this is something that's going to happen, you know, when this patch drops, because I honestly think that this new animation change, they made it look like a simple, we just changed the priorities or whatever it is, but there's something really wrong with this change that just doesn't feel right. It's not consistent. You know what? There's a group of players.
That's the problem.
There's a group of players who are against animation canceling, okay? There's a group of players who are for animation canceling, and there's a group of players who just don't care, right? With this change, they've managed to piss off every single group, because now the group that is against animation canceling, they're like, oh, you can still animation cancel, don't do a half-assed job. Now the group that does animation cancel are like, what is this? This is not consistent. What's going on? And the group that doesn't care, they're still going to be affected by it because it's still not consistent. Their gameplay, no matter how you play, is going to be affected because of the changes. And this is just one of the issues that is caused by the new animation feature that they have.
Can I just say, though, like, you're mentioning animation canceling. Correct me if I'm wrong. This was not put in whatsoever to do anything related to animation canceling.
Yep.
Not even a...
They said it's prioritization of animations.
Yeah, it's for looks. They want it to look better. Okay, so a look better change means it's not going to impact your actual gameplay. Technically.
What just happened right there?
Yeah,
I was uppercutted from like 10 feet, but the uppercut came out instantly. If you see, the cast time on the uppercut was like the same as a surprise attack. There was no wind up. The wind up was instant.
You can wind it up during your gap closer. Like ESO was able to do this. He was able to jab while he's gap closing.
Exactly.
So if you have something go into the patch like this, for example, he tested it and he goes, you know, they nerfed physical damage with the whole Hardy change. He goes, I do less damage, but because they did this animation thing and I can use this, he goes, I do more damage in a tighter window because the animations are broken. So if you this is the thing, like, you can't just slop changes in like this and then say, hey, deal with it, you know? Don't worry, guys, 4 months come down the line, we'll fix it. Just like they're fixing the gap closer issue now. Like, you guys know how painful it was to deal with gap closers. Do you want to deal with this? And whatever other secrets people are going to uncover in the next month or two? Like, you can't just slop changes in like this and not be prepared to deal with them, because that's my problem. So they're not prepared to deal with them quickly. They didn't deal with gap closer quickly. They just said, just sit on it, man. Oh, my stand build sucks. Just sit on it, bro. Wait 4 or 5 months. Like, that's when I say inept. That's what I really mean. And it's, you know, there's so many changes coming in this patch. It's just, it's laughable, because they say on the podcast we don't want to put too much in one patch. Like, they just need to do incremental patching and bouncing in this game, not wait every 4 months and put in a mega patch, a new mega patch. And there's so many issues that we can't even find them all. Put in 5 changes at a time so we can make sure all 5 changes work. And if they don't, we'll know what the problem is at least. We'll say, when you change this got broke. Boom, go fix it. You know, we don't have to wait 4 months for it.
I just want to say I didn't need another reason to hate Wrecking Blow. Thanks, Cypher. I
not
like
just
the
regular
regular
glow.
glow, though.
It-
It's all
every-
It's anything.
animations.
It's
You can
anything.
literally wind up a soul assault.
So any cast time ability?
Anything.
I'm pretty sure you
Any
can
ability.
any ability.
Cool.
It doesn't have to have a cast time. While you're charging in, you can just start, like mid-charge, you can just start casting your single target DPS.
And an
Like they wanted the
animation
game to
swing
look like
as
Dragon
well.
Ball Z, so now you can charge in and throw soul assaults at people. Mid-charge. It looks pretty legit.
I'm worried. I'm just worried that the bugs that we see in the PTS are not going to be addressed by the time this launches. And the thing is, you know what I'm more worried about? Not the bugs that we know, because if we know them, they'll eventually get fixed. The bugs that we don't know yet, because there's always those like hidden bugs that people find out and keep to themselves, and it just doesn't get fixed. It took, you know how long after Axe has been like bugged for months, but like months when the bug came in, no one even realized it until a couple months into it, because no one even used axes. I mean, Lefty used an axe, but I don't think he does.
I use it, bro.
Use it. I don't know. It's just
Axe
Screw the
exploiter.
meta, man.
it took a long time
Defy
for
the
people
meta.
to find it out, and there's just gonna be, I know for a fact, there's gonna be a lot of like little things that we don't know about until months after the launch, and we gotta address them, and then they won't be addressed even if we find them out within a couple of weeks of launch. They will not be fixed until Dark Brotherhood, and that's an issue. Like they need to
Agreed.
figure out a way to find the time to make incremental fixes between patches. We need that, because there are some game-breaking issues from patch to patch that stay, and we're aware of them, and everyone it becomes common knowledge, but we don't fix it because you got to wait till a big incremental patch like a DLC. So it's just we need more frequent patch
I'm
fixes.
I'm going to call Zoss out on this. And there was a time when we were getting updates a lot faster than what we are now, as far as bug fixes and whatnot. And a lot of people say, well, the game was a subscription back at that time. And like look at this, Cypher. I went and leveled my Templar, right? This was when the sub fee was dropped, right? There was no sub fee. I leveled my Templar up. I got my Templar to max level. There was a grind in the game. We found out about the grind. People spread word. A week later, grind fixed, nerfed. They went in, changed the numbers, changed the EXP, fixed. Another grind came up. I leveled my Nightblade up. It took me about 5 hours. I got max level. I got level 50 in 5 hours. 3 days later, grind nerfed. Anything that benefits the player in this game gets fixed instantly. Almost instantly. But things like these PvP changes that break the game, they're fixing them in incremental patches. Not because they can't, not because they don't know how, not because they're short-staffed. It's because they don't want to. They don't want to fix them. And I'm calling us all out on it. It's anti-consumer and it's pitiful.
I honestly,
that they can do this.
Anti-PvP.
And then exactly it's
Anti-PvP.
anti-PvP. And I think it's pitiful. Like, for instance, when Maelstrom Arena dropped, there was a lot of bugs. They didn't say wait till next patch. They fixed it. They went in and fixed it. This mob is doing this and it's causing my progression to stop. They went in and fixed it because they won't be able to sell a DLC that's broken. But something like Cyrodiil, where they're not making money off of it directly out of our pockets, they don't care. I'm calling us all out on it. It's pitiful, man. They need to stop.
yeah, unless your immersion's breaking or you're getting too much XP, like you can wait.
And it's not even to insult them. It's because like every time these patches come and you have things like that, people either have to re-roll, they have to change the way they're playing, and every patch, like, you lose people. I think everybody can attest to that. Everyone has a lot of friends in this game, and like you see them drift off and like, oh, I can't deal with this anymore. They get frustrated with it. Like it's really not right. It's not just to take shots at them, but like that is why things degrade out there. Just I don't know. I guess they just don't value it enough, which is a problem.
It's always been the problem, dude. It's been the
It
problem
is.
since the beginning of the game. I've been crying about this stuff since beta. That's why I don't have any tears anymore. I'm done. I can't cry anymore.
You sound pretty heartbroken.
I am, dude, because I love this game. Like, when I played beta and I saw this game's potential, I was like, dude, I loved this game. I was like, dude. So me, as a gamer, I look for competitive PvP on an individual level. That's why I like small scale stuff. And when I started playing this game in the beta, there was some small scale stuff because there weren't a lot of people playing the beta, stuff like that. I had some awesome fights. Awesome fights, but I also saw the Zergs in the beta, and I was like, wow, I can tell exactly what this game is going to be like when it launches. And a year after it launches, it's still going to be like that unless they change it. I write this like huge like evaluation of the beta for them. That's like, guys, you really need to start focusing on some kind of content that lets people like me enjoy your game for PvP, because you have a gem right here, and you're never and if you don't like, if you just keep Cyrodiil, that gem is always going to be hidden. And here we are. Is it over 2 years now? It's still hidden. It's still hidden. It's just,
No.
but the only thing that I can say about this game is potential. It's the only thing that I could have said about it in beta, and it's disgusting how long. I'm sad.
Yeah, some of my best memories, period, come from this game. So I feel you.
I went and looked back. Me and Cypher we was in TeamSpeak last night. I even talked to you about a thing. Like, oh, I'm just gonna have like a Throwback Thursday stream every Thursday, and just go look at the game from my old broadcasts, my old highlights, my old YouTube videos, and then people are gonna ask you, "What are you playing?" Because this isn't the same game. It's that different. Like, the game has drastically went downhill that much to where it's not. It's a whole nother ball game. We are not playing the ESO that we got in. So I go look at my videos, and I'm trying to look at my ping because I got my ping on my screen. I'm never over 150 ping. My FPS are poop because my computer was poop at that time. But I wasn't getting zerged on left and right. It was just like a whole nother game. And I even look back at early on when I was Twitch streaming. I wasn't known for being an angry dude who streams on Twitch that complains all day about ESO. I wasn't known for that. I was known for 1vxing, dueling. I was known for that. And it's gone. Like, I'm not even known for that anymore. I'm known for just complaining on YouTube and Twitch about the game. And that's pitiful. And I think Zos, they really need to step it up. And they need to come out and stop acting like this isn't happening. Because they're acting like this podcast isn't happening. And that's what they'll do. They just won't watch this podcast. They're like, oh, that didn't happen. They didn't say all these truthful things about our game. They'll just overlook everything. And this is happening, Zos. Like, your game is changing in a negative way, and you guys got to step up as Zos. And I hope somebody as Zos sees this, seriously, because I went back and I looked at those videos, and this game used to be amazing. Used to be.
Yeah, I still find myself, though, every once in a while, starting to like.
You cut out WRX.
Oh, yeah. Push to talk. Life's rough. No, I still find myself, like, looking back and, like, that was definitely the days, but I still enjoy it at times. It has a lot more to do with the people.
That's the thing,
than
though.
the
It's
game,
the at
right?
times thing.
Yeah, no, I know.
That's the problem. Is it's fun sometimes, but a lot of times it's not.
Yeah.
I think getting on the right track starts with communication. It's always been the biggest weakness.
Yep.
Especially
100%.
regarding what we're talking about. With, I don't know. It's like 90% of the things in the game come back to one person. You know, I don't know how you have one person. I know there's lots of people underneath one person, but to be in charge of all the skills and all the items and all the, it's too much, because there's so many issues with all of them that on their own have their issues, but when you tie it all together, man, it's making crap. But it starts with communication. The thing is, they've tried, like, I don't know, they've tried, like, they put up forum posts and stuff, but like, they're not talking to us. They're not asking the right stuff. They say they collect feedback, and then you go and you implement solutions. Like, why not run them by people? Like, anyone could have read the patch notes, and I did this, and some of you guys did too. We read the patch notes. We didn't even log on the PTS, and we could already see the changes. Just seeing the changes, just to Proxtet and that new set, you already know, like, what's going to happen with that. Like, it was very easy. I still have never tested it, but I can already see what's going to happen. You know.
So let me chime in real quickly. So here's the thing regarding those changes, right? One reason like one big reason that they kind of said on their show that when they make changes, they want to make changes that satisfy a majority of the players. Like you want to satisfy hardcore players, and you want to satisfy the casual players and the elite players and everyone. You know, because it's they want to build a big community, so they want to satisfy everyone. Now, my issue is I think the casual PvP players, they're organized. I'm talking about the organized 24-man, but not the elite 24-man. I'm talking about the people who PvP every now and then with their friends, and they get together and they group up for PvP. Like they'll just raid 24 people. Removing or adjusting the AoE cap mitigation from 6 to 24 is not going to have as big of an impact on them as putting the vicious set and buffing a proxy det, because I guarantee you the vicious set and proxy det is going to make their gameplay a lot less fun. A lot less fun.
Agree.
They're going to be destroyed very quickly by well-built builds, magic builds that are oriented around, bursting down these large groups. And they're going to have a bad time, and it's going to be for a good reason. Okay, so going back to the Sorcerer's Shields, people think Sorcerer's Shields in general are overperforming, right? But they put in a fix, which is Shield Breaker. But the thing is, Shield Breaker is only accessed by one particular playstyle. So the majority of people are still complaining about Sorc Shields. But now Sorcerers, when they get faced by Shield Breaker, it's such a hard counter against them that they're like, wow, this isn't fun. Like, I don't like going against Shield Breaker. It's kind of lame. But these groups are going to have the same issue with Vicious Set and the buff to Proxy. They're not going to have a lot of fun. They're just going to be grouped up, and then 1 second later, 2 Nightblades come out of stealth, and they detonate inside them, and, they're done. It's over. Like, they're not going to have time to react. They're all going to wipe. But if you adjusted AoE caps, and you don't put the Vicious Set in, you don't buff Proxy, you'll give everyone the tools to kind of work against larger groups, but these larger groups will still have, a chance to work with the changes and not immediately get wiped. Because, like I said, a big part of the reason why they don't want to remove AoE caps is because they don't want the casual PvP players to just get slaughtered left and right. But to be honest with you, the Vicious Set and the Proxy change is going to be worse for them. It's gonna have a big impact on them, like a bigger impact than just adjusting AoE caps. Now the issue that I have is if they fix Zerging, if they make these large groups not have so much mitigation and force them to spread out, or whatever the case is, you're still going to have the Vicious Set and you're still going to have the Proxy det, which are, in a way, Band-Aid fixes that need to be adjusted. They need to be adjusted, because if you fix the source while you have these Band-Aids on, now the source is good, but now the Band-Aid fixes are going to, absolutely destroy Zergs. And then if you make shields, for example, if you make shields crittable, which is something that I think should be done, but you can't make shields crittable while you have Shield Breaker in the game, and then you have the new champion point passive that gives you bonus against shields. So if you attack the source, because here's the thing, people who don't put points into the champion point shield thing and they don't have Shield Breaker, they're still going to have a problem with shields, no matter what. They're still going to have a problem with Sorc Shields. Well-played Sorcerers are going to be able to shield up really, really hard, and you're not going to be able to take them down. But if people go and do take Shield Breaker and put points into that shield passive, they won't have a problem with shields. But only those people will have a problem with shields. Now, when we talk about the Zergs and the large groups, the people who go get the Vicious Set and start using Proxy against these large groups, they're not going to have a problem with large groups. They're going to have a really good chance at killing them. But the people who don't take these abilities, and I'm talking more than half the game that uses stamina, or then the other half of the magic builds that don't use Proxy or don't want to use the Vicious Set, they're still going to have a problem with the big groups. So, again, I'm going back and saying this. They need to attack the source of the issue instead of adding things to fix the issue. Because when you add things to fix the issue, it's going to limit who has access to these tools that addresses the problems that you have. And then at the end of the day, the people who are, think of it this way. People complain about Shield Breaker and about Sorc Shields. They complain about both, because Sorcerers are complaining about Shield Breaker because Shield Breaker is a really hard counter to Sorcs. I mean, the average Sorc is going to have a hard time with Shield Breaker. But then anyone who's not using Shield Breaker is going to have a problem with shields. So that just causes another issue altogether. And I think the best solution is to just adjust things that are going to affect everyone, and not just put something in that, okay, you got to use this to counter this, or you got to use this to take care of that. So that's really all I want to say. You got to
Is that
fix
it?
the source, yeah. Sorry.
That's all. I don't know. I just thought Forrest Gump. That's all I have to say about that. You talk for like 3 hours and you're like, that's all I have to say about that.
You guys are mean.
Oh. What? No, I love you, Cypher. It just reminded me of Forrest Gump. It was funny, man. Tom
That's
Hanks,
good
come on.
points, man.
Yeah,
I
it's all
mean,
true.
You're preaching. It's I'm right there with you.
That's
As
the
you
th-
make these changes, Cypher, and they start making brand new changes to the game, bringing in new things, you have to always come back and revisit these things, because it's like, well, we can't put this new skill in because remember we have detonate, which is really broken against AoE, and then we have that set too. Like, if they just, I come back, I just think it's bad design. And that's why cap should be done away with and bounce the game around that. So when you reintroduce new skills, new sets, you're doing it around like a baseline of here's the AoE caps, whatever it is. If it's just a flat 24 or something, or whatever it is. But there's no discussion around the logic of it all, man. And honestly, nothing will ever change or get done until they're willing to explain it. So when Roble says to you guys on the forums, and he comes on ESO Live, and he says, "Hey, we're willing to discuss AoE caps, and that's not a hard set number. We'll continue to monitor it and all that." Why has it been 6 for so long? Like 6 people, I just don't get it. It shouldn't be anything short. I mean, if 24-man groups are the thing, then why wouldn't it be 24? You know what I mean? Like, they could change a lot in Cyrodiil. I don't know. There's lots of changes they could do. They started to make things group based. I think it should have always been like that. I always personally thought groups should have been cut down to 12, and you can't heal anybody outside of your group. Then cut AoE caps down a bit, and like there would be so many less. You wouldn't be shooting off of healing springs in a pile of 60 people doing calculations on a pile of 60 people. When you shoot a heal in a 60 people and it can only hit 6, it's got to pull a list of 60 people and say, I'm going to choose these 6. And next tick, now I choose these 6, then these 6. And it's going through, it's looking at all the health on all those people. They don't care if they're in the group or not. You know, the logic with all this stuff is bad. It's not well written. Like, we're not dummies. Like, there's people out there that understand this stuff. Like, and it's the same thing offensively. And you said earlier that he talked about even the offensive stuff. He said it would cause more calculations to remove AoE caps. I don't get it. You know,
No, you just apply the same calculation to all character models. It's less than
right. It would just say
I
we're
don't-
gonna pick
yeah.
here's X amount of people in here. They take that amount of damage, and it just goes against their mitigation.
My idea was actually they would actually lower the cap from 60 to
Right.
30. Because okay, so here's the thing, we want AoE caps removed, but if it's gonna cause server issues, then screw that. Like, no one wants more server issues. No one wants more lag. It's already
I
bad
just
enough
don't
as
buy
it
that.
is. I agree, but let's just assume that by removing AoE caps, we're gonna have server issues. Let's just assume that by removing AoE caps, servers are gonna lag more because you're gonna be hitting more targets. How about this? Instead of having a cap at 60, lower the cap from 60 to 30, but make it to where those 30 players take full damage, and then you're good. You're halving the calculations, and you're also taking away the calculations of like mitigation. And that's it. They just take full damage. Because I doubt you're ever going to get in a situation, rarely, where you're hitting more than 30 people with one AoE.
That's not the
Yeah,
case though, and it's just simple.
Well, we're making
They
assumptions.
give
like-
us no. I know. I'm with you on that. I agree 100%. But what I'm trying to say is, they don't even know why the game is lagging. If they knew that AOE's was causing the, like this specific reason with AOE's was causing the game, why is the game lag? Why is it not fixed? They don't know why the game is lagging. That's just an excuse to say, hey, we're too lazy to care about PvP at this point to adjust that. It has nothing to do with lag. So let's not even give them that. Please, let's not give them that.
The
I-
game
it is like-
can't
we're-
stand well on its own feet. It's just when you have all that happening, it just exacerbates it. It makes it so
Yeah,
much
yeah.
worse. But like, I mean, take for example what was happening on the PTS. You just log in and duel. It's like, hey, there's 30 people in the area that it's
There's no
lagging.
AOE cap. No AOE is going off.
Yeah, there's nothing happening. It's just like it just doesn't run well there. That's a whole nother story, man. That goes back to the lighting patch that apparently didn't mess anything up, though, right?
And that's what I'm saying. Like, we can sit here and we can say, okay, they don't want to change it because it's going to make it lag. Let's not give them that excuse. That's not the excuse. That's not the way it should be handled. They haven't even implemented it in the game or tested it to figure out if that was the case. They're not willing to like take these drastic steps because they just don't care, man.
I want to bring up a topic because we haven't really discussed any like recent topics. How do you guys feel about like on the show when they talked about time to kill for groups? ZeniMax made it clear that they wanted the time to kill to be long, to create strategic battles. Now I'm for long time to kill on groups if there was such thing as strategic battles, but the strategy really stops. Like it doesn't really get too far as like there is strategy and there are groups that are definitely going to be better than other groups, but the actual strategy and you know things that people do it's limited, right? It's limited. It usually comes down to the same thing. So how do you guys feel about the time to kill? Like they make it seem like they want time to kill to last longer. What do you guys think about that?
I'll let you go, Fang, because we both got our hand on this button like it's Jeopardy, and I'm looking at you. He's just waiting to press the button.
Yeah.
Fang.
No, I remember this said on the podcast, and so the first part that you said, I totally agree with it. Yes. Okay, because in 1.6 we had a very low time to kill, yet I enjoyed 1.6 PvP in the aspect that if a player couldn't stay, you know, if he really wasn't skilled, he wasn't going to get saved just blindly by heals. That's a small issue. What you're referring to, though, Cypher, is big groups versus big groups, clashing, strategy, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm totally on board with that, and I get it. But here's the thing. Again, it comes back to really the same issue I'm talking about here with small-scale stuff. Resource management's out of control, so there's really no strategy there. There's no making choices and stuff like that. It just doesn't happen. People are just hammering out AoEs. But today, the way it works, because of that, it's all about burst, and it has been. That's why all the big ball groups are running around, you know, turning on proc stats. They don't care how many they're fighting. You could have 24 people fighting 6, and those 24 people will all charge up proc stats. Okay, it could be 10 versus 1. I've done this. I've been the one guy against 10 people. They all charge up proc stats around the corner. I'm like, you serious? But you know why? Because it hits so hard. Their proc stats hit harder than my ult. You know, it's terrible, and it's against one guy. But I mean, they're not. Again, to come back to it, the vicious set and proc stats. I don't see this as strategical. I don't see it strategical in any sense, and I've argued way too much than I ever should have on the forums with people about, oh, this is strategical. You know, we had to all group on the crown and stand behind that building, and then I counted from 3 to 1, and then we pressed procstat and we ran at that group over there. Like, what kind of strategy is this? Like, it's not. Everyone's just pressing procstat and they're moving from point A to point B. They jump in the crowd, boom, rapids, barrier, move out. We're going to the next building. We're gonna let all the pugs just follow us that think they can close us. 3, 2, 1, procstat, we're going right back into them. Like, this is not strategy. You got to be crazy if you're thinking, or you've never played another MMO with actual good tactics and strategy. Like, these keeps are so oversimplified. We've had no changes since this game came out to how keeps function. We'd love to see them. We don't want to see people just jump on the flag and be AoE bait. That's why another reason they're not going to change AoE caps. You're just bait sitting on there with 30 people to flip the flag. That's why they just rapid barrier, spam breath of life. They go flag to flag. They flip it in like 10 seconds. I'm in the middle of these guys fighting them. There's 25 guys standing on the flag. I'm sitting in there just spinning around, hitting barriers, doing no damage. So no, there's no strategy in this now.
Wait, okay, I get that, but time to kill. That's the topic. Time to kill. They want time to kill to be longer, to create some sort of like strategy or whatever, and that was kind of one of the reasons they brought up for not having for having the AoE cap the way it is, because they don't want people to get bursted down so quickly. Okay, time to kill. Tie that in with PvP, okay, and then with lag as well.
It's never going to happen with procstat. You understand? Procstat is the opposite of having this time to kill. So when he says that we want fights to be more strategical, again, it's never going to happen with procstat, man. It's just not going to happen. This is why it's a bad solution. Back at release, we had people fighting differently. You were, hey, pull them in this room. I'm going to drop a standard. And okay, we're fighting in here. Dropping a gate because they dropped a standard. And people were moving around. They were using positioning more. Positioning doesn't matter with procstat. You just move from point A to point B and you do a countdown. Like it's not strategical at all. Like this proc stat and vicious set. Let's just call vicious set a buffer to the to proc stat, okay? Because that's all it is. When you go in and you blow up in a big pile, more people are gonna blow up. It's gonna do more damage, okay? That's all it really is. Like this is not strategical. There's endless resources on top of it. So these people are just running around, waving their hands, healing. People are able to just keep going and going. Like back in the day, we had more resource management. We had ults. We had positioning. We had people worrying about stuff. That for me, that doesn't exist. I would like to see a higher time to kill. I'm with you on that, Cypher. I want to see more utility.
Well, I'm not saying we should have a higher time to kill. I haven't commented on the topic.
I'm advocating for it. I don't like a group going in and saying, all right, 24 versus 24, and they just clash and one side blows up. I don't think it's good PvP. It's what we're going to have. It's what people think I want when I say remove AoE caps, but it's not. I'm happy with lowering the AoE and rebalancing all the skills when you remove AoE caps. I'm happy with that. Like, that would be good. We'd have an actual, like, strategic fight. It goes on for, like, a minute, 24 versus 24. It can take a while. That's fine. But, like, today, the way it's built, it's all about burst, man. That's all that matters. Resources are very easy to manage because of the CP system, because of the equipment, because of all these stupid things that have come in. So, no, I'm not against what they're saying with a higher time to kill, but right now what we have, man, we are so far from it. It's not happening. It's the opposite of that. So to say that is just, it's crazy. I don't even know what to talk about.
To tie it in with lag, do you think that if fights lasted longer between these large groups, lag would also last longer?
Probably, but I mean, you know, I think that's the way fights are fought. People are balled up again. You have 6 to 10 people spamming healing and purge on your group. It's going through and it's pulling numbers every time you do that on all these people. That's when the lag's the worst. It's the defensive abilities. It's not the offensive ones that I've seen lagging. It's when you have these groups pounding lots of AoE on themselves with heals and they're stacking barriers. I think that's when the lag gets bad. So yeah, would it lag it more? Probably, but I mean, I wouldn't consider both of those when solving that problem. Those are two different issues because the performance isn't tied to that. The performance is tied to issues they solved way back in the day. It's not just the lighting issues they changed. It's how they move things from server-client side relationship for the whole bot issue. That's totally different. But you can't solve a problem based on that. It's not right, and you can take it into account. But is this strategic? Is it smart? Is it good? Is it interesting? No, it's not. You're just blowing up a group, and we'll be able to do that next patch. You know, go make a Nightblade and get ready to blow people up because it's gonna happen.
Yeah, but I think what you're describing right now, it's like the ball groups aren't gonna be a thing. Like you might see it the first week or two, but the moment they get wiped, like you're saying, by 2 Nightblades with Proxy Det and Bats, it's over. Like there's no way you're gonna keep stacking up like that. So like I think time to kill is gonna be up to the players. If you play with like a more self-sustained build, like keeping yourself alive and you have heals, but keep yourself alive, on top of some of the other changes that they're putting in, like the fights are gonna last longer. But if you do stuff like balling up, if you play like you would today, like 2 or 3 people are gonna wipe a group of 24, no problem, I think.
Yeah, that's possible. Det's still very good. Again, these higher skilled players are really they're gonna be able to run with this patch.
Oh yeah.
And then you have these people they're trying to take care of, the people that they successfully coddled this patch, the people that are more casual, just hop in the group, follow the crown. They are going to be upstream without a paddle this patch, man. They're going to have no idea what to do. They're not going to be able to fend for themselves. They're going to be grouped next to people. They're going to be the dynamite that blows their friend up with this new patch.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm excited for though. Like that's where I think they're heading in the right direction. Is like it's going to really, I mean, on paper at least, it's going to value player skills.
Well,
I agree with the concept of killing a casual. I'll let you go, King. I agree with it. I just don't think it's good. Like
that it's limited to just Magicka.
Play
like,
my class.
It's limited to
I'd
just
rather
Magicka. And so here's the thing. The goal they're trying to achieve with Vicious and Proxy is good. To be able to kill these large groups that are just like mindlessly bunched up is really good. But one, it's not class-based, so you have to go outside of your class skill line to get it. It's also light armor-based and Magicka-based. So it's for a particular playstyle, which is the magic of builds, and it's for a particular ability that's outside of the class abilities. So it removes the the class abilities and doesn't make them as powerful. But if you do away with Vicious Set and with Proxy Debt, but then you made AoEs hit harder, you reduced some of the the damage mitigation that these larger groups are getting, everyone will have the tools to take on larger groups if they coordinate properly. But it won't be just about one. It'll be about playing your class properly. It'll be about coordinating with with what you have, your ultimates, your own personal abilities, not Proxy Debt and not Vicious Set, which is limited to just Magicka builds. So that's the issue. The goal is there. The goal might get hit. Like, we might see ball groups drop in number, and lag might just start lag might in a way be less of a problem. In a way, be less of a problem because of these larger groups either playing spread out or playing in smaller groups. And you might see a lot of smaller groups. We might have like small groups all over the place. But the thing is, the goal is achieved with the wrong way of achieving that goal, because you limit it to just half the player base. Not even half, just a portion of the player base.
No, I agree with you. In the perfect world, there wouldn't be AoE caps, and it wouldn't matter. Like, Proxy Debt wouldn't be there. Your ulti would still regen a lot quicker than 3 ticks a second. Like, there's a lot better ways. But I mean, you guys kind of talked about it last time. If you had to choose between like how it is now and how it will be in March, I mean, I think it's moving at least a little bit better, right?
I think I told this to Richard a couple days ago. I think this patch right now is the lowest we'll ever be. I think next patch is going to be better than the previous patch. I think this patch right now is the lowest we'll ever be. And what's coming in next patch, there are some good things coming in. And I think the game is going to be slightly better than what we have right now. Maybe even a good chunk better than what we have right now. But that doesn't that's ineffective from Band-Aid fixes that could fall apart when they fix the core issues, or if they address the core issues, or because what happens is if this works in a way, if ball groups are countered really hard by these sets, they will never go back and visit these issues because they've just been dealt with by these Band-Aid fixes that are limited to certain people. And if they ever do go back and fix AoE caps or balling up on the crown or whatever, these Band-Aid fixes are still going to be there. They're still going to be there. So they have to address this down the line. Like Fangrush said, down the line they're going to have to go back and address these things that they changed if they plan to change the core mechanics of anything regarding AoE caps, regarding shields, regarding healing. They have to go back and address these issues.
All right, yeah, I definitely agree with that for sure.
It's a good short-term solution comparatively speaking, but a long-term one, it's
hopefully
faulty.
hopefully they have something in mind for long term, and like they did say, I know you don't like this word, Fangrush, but it was a delicate issue. I know you don't like the word, but
I like delicate. I think I said I knew what was happening.
You know what's happening.
When someone tells me something is delicate, I know what's coming next. That's all.
So the good thing, like the good news, if you want to look at it from the bright side, I think that what we're going to have next patch is going to be a lot better than what we have currently, but it's still not going to be where we want to be. It's definitely not going to be where we want to be as far as gameplay.
All right, so there's some okay things coming this next patch, right? Some okay things in the pipeline for this upcoming patch. But one thing I can't really get over is when I get on that PTS and I play the game with that animation cancel or that animation update, I want to get off the PTS and I want to go back to live. And that's going to make it in this new update. And with that coming in this new update, I don't see how I'm going to enjoy that. Like, we go on a PTS, there's about 20 people tops and they're dueling. There's no AoE ball grouping up. There's none of that. There's none of that happening. But my FPS are low and I'm lagging. I'm lagging like to the point where it's almost unplayable. And this is before this game is live and people are ball grouping up and running from keep to keep, spamming AoEs and hiding in corners, doing things like that. Like, this is something that really can't be overlooked. The performance of ESO, it just cannot be overlooked. I don't know why they added this animation update, but I think it's bad news for this next patch coming up. Because regardless of whatever changes are happening, when a game performs the way that it's performing on PTS, nobody is happy. Duelers, Zergers, small scalers, role players, doesn't matter. You can't enjoy the game when it's doing that. And that's my biggest takeaway from this PTS. Regardless of the set changes, there's some good things. I can definitely see myself on the Magic and Nightblade jumping into a group, smashing them. I can definitely see that happening. But I can't see that happening with the game lagging and performing the way that it does on the PTS. And you would think that coming up in this patch, that would be their main priority, but it's not. It's just like, guys, we got some things coming in for lag. It's not going to be in this patch, but keep your eyes open for update 10. That's what it's looking like with this next patch.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
No,
We have him on contract.
Through the whole year, Lefty. Can you do that?
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Okay.
I don't know if you
Oh,
guys
man.
agree or disagree with
Nah,
me. Thing Rush and
I felt
Cypher.
the lag. It's part of
I
the
agree
reason I
with
didn't
you.
go on there.
I
Part of
didn't
it
I didn't
could
have
be
any
PTS.
like the
the
animations. The animations was like bugging with me, but performance I didn't have any like.
Did you,
I mean,
did
I've
you
seen,
play ultra high? Because
I played on ultra high. Like okay, so
I heard there was a
FPS.
problem with that.
There was
When
a
I
problem with
turned it down, it was
FPS.
different.
There was a problem with FPS. That's one for sure. FPS,
Yeah.
I had some issues with it. I was definitely having lower
That's
FPS
all I
on
was
the
talking
PTS.
about.
And then some people had some latency issues. Personally, I only had the FPS issue, and then the animations were not enjoyable. I didn't like the new changes to animations.
Yeah, I mean that's a whole nother bag of issues that we're gonna be dealing with as people discover things that will not get fixed when this goes live. Have fun with that, everybody. That's gonna be a thing. They're just not gonna be able to fix that, which is
Well,
again,
they're not-
I don't know
they're-
why this was like fast tracked into this patch. We never heard about it. Like, yeah, we're just gonna throw that in there for you, okay? Give you a little gift here. We're gonna make things feel better. And I'm not feeling better when I'm getting like crunched by animations I can't see anymore. I've lost some duels, and I didn't even like I go and I look at my recap and there's like 3 hits that hit me. I didn't even see those. I was like, oh okay, well I got to be aware of that, I guess. If someone's wrecking blowing me, it's very possible he was winding a full heavy attack with like an execute and something else in behind it, and I didn't even see them. Like they all just happened together. So like it's different than animation canceling. Like don't get them mixed up. This is like I don't it's something else altogether. So that's going to be a thing that is just one more thing to deal with on top of it. But yeah, we'll see how the performance goes. Hopefully it's not bad, but there were significant changes made to the game.
A while ago,
And,
Zanimix went through some financial
Hopefully
issues.
they
They
attack
had
it.
to let go a
There's
lot
also
of
the 64-bit
employees.
thing, so
They are
Yeah.
being
maybe they don't-
overworked.
We won't know.
I
Guys,
just
wait,
hope
wait,
the
wait.
Right, we
people
won't-
at
we won't be able to
BDO
tell.
are more
Looking
professional
forward
than
to it,
Zanimix.
Sorry, I forgot to turn off text to speech, and someone donated. Talking about BDO, something like that.
Oh, it's time for King to step up. Let it rip, King. You take it from here.
I got about 90 beta keys to give away. That's all I gotta say.
Damn.
That's a lot of beta keys, dude.
All right, guys, listen. We're kind of slowing down as far because kind of from the start it was a lot of repetition and a lot of just sort of disappointment and not that much excitement regarding some of the changes. But I'm just gonna say like one last thing before we start doing the Q&A. Like from patch to patch, just looking at it from patch to patch, ignoring the big picture. Next patch is going to be more enjoyable for me personally. The animations and that's mechanical things that I hope to God gets addressed because it's terrible. Like it feels way off. But as far as like the item sets coming in, changes to groups, purge, barrier, all that stuff, it's gonna make the game a little better. And it's a lot of it's band-aid fixes, so it's gonna be temporarily better. But from patch to patch, like if you're still thinking about playing the game from patch to patch, this next patch will be better than previous patch. That's all I want to say. We could do Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, type them in the chat. We will answer them as they come. So anyone, just feel free to step in and answer a question.
Real quick, something that was in that podcast was they used one of Lefty's lines. They wanted to look at heavy armor, make you feel like you were wearing heavy armor.
Cool.
But don't worry, it's coming to Dark Brotherhood. Just take a seat back there, bro.
They
Right
want our
along with
blue
the stamp
skill
sorts.
faces.
I got some solid ideas regarding how. I mean, not to jump in, but
The mitigation's terrible, but I love the like I think there's just the whole armor curve is crap, and that doesn't even include the fact that there's weapons that cut through percentages of heavy armor. But yeah.
no, I think they mentioned they're already changing up some skills. I've heard some other stuff, like they're changing exploration to be increased CP gains. They mentioned something else, movement speed with some movement. I don't know. But the thing, like you guys mentioned last time, getting like impin right now on light armor almost makes you tankier than like no impin on heavy armor.
Yep, it
And
does.
move the impin as to a heavy armor passive, and then make impin a totally different thing, because they're already reworking the traits anyways, right? There's a couple of like so you block something, so you block like a 10k crystal frag. Maybe it returns 1,000 stamina with like a 1 second cooldown or something. So like you're blocking, add some sort of stam regen to heavy armor, but you get no regen when you're blocking with light or medium armor. Because I agree, like heavy armor needs something new.
How about
I
you
think
keep
block now
keep half
stupid.
your regen? You keep your regen while in heavy. You keep your regen even while blocking while in heavy.
Right now?
I think it's
I'd like to
stupid.
not see the block builds again. I didn't like them before, so I don't particularly
so
I just don't know
okay.
why it drops to 0. Like, it can screw you just on a tick. Like, if you have a high regen build, I'd rather see, like, a debuff get applied to you per 0.5 seconds. Like,
That's another thing. It's like they that nerf to shields. It wasn't the fact that people can perma block. It was how much damage they can mitigate while blocking. Like you could literally be in medium armor and take a 14k frag in 1.6, and then slot sword and board and block that frag, and that frag will do 3k damage. That was the issue. It wasn't that people could perma block. It was the mitigation that people were pulling off when they were blocking.
They gotta be careful with one thing though. If they buff heavy armor, if they buff it and actually give it true mitigation, while you still have like minor mayhem and an impen, you can have someone wear heavy with minor mayhem and impen and
It ain't much money,
reduce
but I
damage by like
appreciate
90%
you all.
plus. Thank you, Lethal. Like they gotta take impen, like what Work said. They gotta take impen and make it a heavy armor exclusive trait, and then just rework impen completely, make it do something else, and then maybe even some of the one-handed shield passives need to be like slid into the heavy armor passive. Because right now, a medium armor player with a one-handed shield is pretty much a tank. Like there's not, like they can pretty much tank better than heavy in PvP, just because of sustain.
Yeah, definitely. The last thing I thought of was a movable, because now that's going to be key for PvP. Like without rapids and stuff, to get into a breach you need a movable. And having a 5-second immovable that goes up to like 8 seconds and 7 heavy doesn't do anything for me. It should be like 15 seconds or so. If you're wearing a lot of heavy.
That's a good point, Noah. All right, so we've been talking about Nightblades being able to jump in and bomb, right? But most people on those Zergs are going to be running Radiant and Inner Light with those changes, and you won't really be able to get out. You'll still be able to get in and do a ton of damage though, because even without hitting somebody out of stealth, the proxy debt damage is really strong. So even with that Mage Light change, yeah, it'll stop Nightblades from escaping, but getting in and doing that initial damage, it'll still be there, 100%.
Does Radiant affect your allies?
It affects. What do you mean? Oh yeah,
Supposed
yeah.
to.
It reveals you.
No.
What about-
Does
what about
Radiant
cladding?
passively affect your allies?
The 50% damage nerf from stealth.
Yeah, does that passively
No.
affect your allies?
I don't believe it does. It's not supposed to.
Because he used to. He used to.
Yeah, it's in the tooltip at least before.
Oh, it was? If it's in the tooltip, then
Oh, that doesn't mean
Someone
it
needs-
wasn't in the tooltip. But I
Someone
could
needs
be wrong.
to address that.
It needs,
Someone
it
needs to
needs
double
to be
check that.
tested. But,
Because if it affects your allies, then that's you just need one guy with Radiant.
All of you
someone
hit the
keeps
jab.
asking me what's my opinion on ult gen and why. I think we should have more dynamic ult gen. Not dynamic ult gen of the old days, but something more related to the numbers you're fighting in front of you. You know, if you're fighting one guy, it could be comparable to what you have today. If you're fighting 10 guys, I mean, it's really got to be different. It's not fair that for every one ult you drop, you get hit with 10. I mean, it's just insane when you put it on top of AoE caps and all
Here's
that
a $1
junk. It's
to
just,
put towards cheese
it-
for that
It
wine.
just tells you, like, you know, go get more people. This patch has been the worst because of it's so numbers focused. This is the most numbers focused, skill reduced patch I'd say we've had. So I look forward to moving on from what we have on live right now. It's but the game kind of keeps shifting that way. You know, numbers, less skill. I don't like that part of it.
Someone's asking, can you guys talk about the nerf to Cloak? I want to say that I'm perfectly fine with Cloak not being a purge and just reducing the dots to 0 and giving you the percent. Mage Light is going to be a bit of an issue. I personally think that Mage Light shouldn't keep you out of stealth after you leave the radius of it. Like, that's like an extra, you know, portion that just makes it really hard to work with. But one thing that I really have an issue with is Cloak. When you get marked, you can't go to Cloak anymore. And that's something people are overlooking. You can't Cloak at all while marked. Currently in the live game, if a Nightblade marks you, and then you go into Cloak, only that Nightblade who marks you can see you. So if you line of sight them, or if they can't get to you, you can still Cloak while marked. Now if someone marks you, you're out of luck. Unless you purge it off, you're out of luck for 30 seconds. Like, you know, you're kind of screwed at that point. And that's the only change that I want to see fixed. I don't want to be first. I don't want to be forced to run purge on a stem and a Nightblade because some Nightblade marked me. You know.
So, Trubs was asking about the change for DKs from flame to poison for stam and stuff like that. I don't
That's
think
not
we
coming
can
till update
really
10
talk
though.
about that yet. Yeah, I don't. We can't even really, because they're probably gonna do a bunch of other things too that may change it. So I don't
I
know.
can't
Those are
believe they
just
even
words
said
to
that.
me right now. It's nothing. It's nothing
Hey,
to me right
Yeah,
now.
while we're
It's
even
just
talking about
too early.
update 10 before we even get update 9
It's just
working
too early. Yeah.
properly.
Yeah, why are
They-
they talking about changing more things for DKs? Like, what about Stamp Sork? Why can't we get a little poison dot?
What about stamps?
Nah, for real. They're just like, hey, just don't worry about it right now. You know, they said we're gonna do weapon ults for the Stam builds out there. You know, they said on there, Roble says, you know, there's a few physical ults that scale. There's one, Dragon Leap. You have to be a Dragon Knight, okay? There's nothing else. One class that can do a physical scaling ult, okay? Even the Fighters Guild skill line does not scale with physical. So there's something wrong with that. It's not acceptable. Tell us to wait till update 10 to get a single ult that'll scale. Thanks. You know, that's meanwhile they're gonna buff Hardy. So my ults that don't scale with my CP are now hitting people for less with the new CP skill they scaled up. Do you know how insane that is to even I don't get it. I really don't. It's absolutely insane. You know, they're telling people that are on Stamp Sorks and Stamp Lars to just piss off and re-roll pretty much. Because you're
We
screwed.
all know the
You're fighting
problems, but
disadvantage, and
knowing
they
the
don't
problem
care.
is completely
They really don't
different
care
than
about you.
fixing the problems. Zoza is inept to everything wrong with the game, so pathetic. This is by far the most frustration I've ever had in a
Stamp
game,
Lars
but
got a
hey,
nice
we
buff,
got
though, I
effing
thought,
camels
with
now,
the major
yay.
mending.
Thank you, Gray Fox. I can't
They're not
believe-
terrible. Don't get me wrong. Anyone can play any of those classes, but you know, you're never gonna hear, man, those Templars they're borderline OP. They're pretty brutal now. We need to get more Stamplars in group. We need more Stamsorks in this group. They're just too strong this patch. Those words are not going to be uttered for a while. I mean, it's not happening.
For sure.
It's just for me. It just comes back to bounce, like just scaling things, making things equal. Like, how do I not have an ult that scales in the CP tree? How long has the CP system been in place? And yet they finally got around to putting in Hardy, and while doing that change, they didn't even think of like the other side of that equation. Like, what else is relevant to physical damage in the CP system? Oh, the fact that there's one ult in the game that actually scales with it.
The people want they want blue still, and they want the crowd the blackout video. That's all I gotta say, Fang.
I know. I know it. Cypher's
make
the
that
blue
go
steel
viral.
guy. Alright, you go follow Cypher on Twitter. He's blue stealing it all the time on there.
What is that?
What is blue still? You don't know.
No,
You
I know
what blue
Zoolander
still.
is.
You
Zoolander.
are blue still.
You
He's
are.
asking what it is, and you
Yeah.
are blue still.
What's blue steel?
It's a long story. You ever watch
Yo,
Zoolander?
Tuckles is tossing that video, that image out.
Oh no, I saw that like a long time ago, maybe.
So what other questions we have? Oh yeah, AP caps was mentioned in the podcast. How'd you guys feel about this one? So here you go. Guys, we didn't figure out what to put in the game for like 5 or 6 months. Did I talk about this last night? If I did, I forget. But like, AP caps was a real thing. Lefty, you didn't see that you were asking? They didn't put anything in the game, so AP caps was one of their ideas of things to put in the game. And then chat blew up on the podcast. Gina's like, did you say AP caps? Because things are going crazy. What are you guys even laughing about here? Alright, okay. So here I am talking about issues. You know what? Just take it away. Just there.
What's the AP cap gonna be? Did they say anything about it?
No, it was just an idea they threw out, and obviously people
Why do
didn't
they
respond well to
do
it.
stuff like that without saying what it is? Is it gonna be 500? Is it gonna be 500,000?
Well, they didn't
It's
mention
not
it just
meaningful to me.
because people have so much AP stored up, you know. Get that shit out of here, man.
Oh no.
Thanks, Cypher. You know what? I'm hosting next time. I'm gonna get one for you too. I'll just put it behind me or something. I'm gonna get you back. I got you.
So yeah, tell us about those AOE caps again, Fang.
Yeah, I don't know. What were you...
It's AP caps, man. AP. It's a terrible idea. They didn't even know it was gonna be a bad idea. I don't think anybody's for that. What do I think about them changing Crystal Blast into a stem melee morph for Crystal Fist? It'd be a good idea. I think the fact that they changed the Crystal morph to begin with was awful, making it a Magicka range thing. And they said on the podcast too, like, you know, we want Sorks to be able to throw in some AoE damage. Do you guys know any Sorks in the game that actually throw crystal fragments into Zerg groups and expect to accomplish a damn thing? Does anybody expect that's gonna happen? WRX, can you dream up a scenario where anyone's gonna be doing that?
Nah, I'd probably kick him out of the group.
I would probably make fun of them.
Yeah, it's not happening.
And I'd rarely do that, but like the other one, giving you an insta-cast fragment, the ability to close, again, burst is what this is about. Nobody's burst in hardcast in that skill. It's insane. It doesn't give you any bonus. There's no reason to go and hardcast that to do half damage to some pile of people. It's terrible. So that's just evidence of someone being out of touch, I think, with what changes are kind of needed. They literally spent time making one of the most underused morphs in the game different, but not more used whatsoever.
Somebody said Robble talked about a cast time on certain shows like Hard and Ward. I didn't hear anything about
Yeah,
that.
that
Yeah.
was about bouncing. They were trying to figure out how to bounce wards, and one of the ideas he said was to make it more of a non-combat / risk type thing. So it would have a cast time to it, but it would block more, so it'd be like a more risky thing. I think it's probably the worst solution to wards and solving them. You know, they talked about the different ideas they've entertained, but that would literally make it
Update
like
10.
like for Sorks it could work behind mines against melee or something, but try being a Templar with a cast time on Blazing Shield. Like good luck. You know, or
Yeah.
and any other shield really.
They
Anything
probably
other
would.
than a
They
sword
probably
behind
would just
mines.
target like Hard and Ward and maybe Harness Magicka.
Someone's asking character transfers from EU to NA or NA to EU or console to PC. I personally think they should give character transfers available to everyone, like across the board. But what they should do is they should copy. They should like secretly get a copy of the console characters and PCNA and PCEU characters and just freeze that copy. That way people, because people know that they're going to be able to transfer the character, they can just like a big amount of gold on one character and then transfer it over. So what they should do is get a character copy of Xbox, PS4, EU, NA, and then give people the opportunity to switch servers or whatever for a price. And they can make a lot of money off of that, so I don't know why they haven't really jumped on that bandwagon yet.
Nobody's asking questions.
Race change.
Barbershop update 10, right?
No, not up to 10. Update after 10.
Oh,
Apparently.
there you go.
But is the barbershop linked with race change, or is it different?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Probably.
I really hope it's
Housing this year. Another big announcement for you.
How do you guys feel about the new gap closer snare versus really good?
You know, I haven't really got to test it actually.
You can't test that until you get in live and you try
Yeah.
to get away from Berserk.
Exactly.
Then
Yeah.
you'll find out.
Gotta run for my life, basically.
I don't know why they added more time to it. Why didn't they just make it a 60% snare for half a second? Like, why has it got to be longer?
Because apparently, like, that's it's a great question, man. It really is. You know, exactly. Why does it need to be longer? You just need to get to the target.
Why don't they speed up gap closers?
I don't know. They
See the
Werewolf
animation
Leap
of-
works fine.
Does it though?
Sometimes
Yeah.
it misses, right?
Do you connect? I don't connect every time.
Yeah, maybe not.
Dragon
I
Leaps
mean,
don't connect every time.
I mean,
either.
they can't code gap closers. They just can't. I don't know why, but they can't.
I would rather miss with my gap closers and close the target and get there and be able to do
Yep.
something else
Same here.
than be rooted and spammed and use it like that on other people.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I'd
you can
rather
just they
miss.
could just make it to where the damage always applies, but you don't have to like completely be on top of their ass once you're done with the gap close if they're moving. That just makes more sense realistically.
Or speed them up or something. I don't know. Honestly, what they had in there for so long is one of the worst things, and they're just making it a different form of that. And they want it to feel good, but like, just, I don't know. It didn't even used to be a thing before. This wasn't even a thing. Like, you didn't used to
Someone
have
actually
that
posted
issue.
a video on the forums showcasing gap closers like pre the route change and after the route change. It's a completely different like game. Like it felt so much smoother when you were getting gap closed, and there wasn't any issues. At least not that I know of.
They made that change to fix a bug of related to something else. It's a band-aid solution that they just carried over. They say, well, we have to fix they're fixing a band-aid basically instead of, you know.
They were fixing the crit charge bug. where you could crit charge like and you get like stuck on trees or something like
Right,
something like
you
that.
get
Where
stuck
you
on the ground.
Yeah, stuck in the ground.
Stuff like that.
So they put a band-aid fix that's going to affect all the gap closers, and because they put a band-aid fix in, they just have to roll with it and they keep it in. And that's like going back. That's exactly what I said earlier about band-aid fixes, like shield breaker.
Yeah, like
or
they're
vicious
not
Step. It's
willing to revisit the core issue here. You know, it's like, listen, you're gonna have to deal with the bad thing we did to fix the thing that we broke before. Like, no, just go back and like please redesign a solution. But I honestly don't think they have a lot of the, maybe they just don't have the original people coding here that were before that made some of these skills and understand how they could fix it. You know, that's what it screams out to me. Like, we brought in new people, and that's just the reality of things. And you know, if they don't know how to fix it, then you bring in someone new, they're gonna put a band-aid on top of that thing to try to fix whatever the issue is.
I just want to say something really quickly, like regarding this podcast, because a lot of the people who like want to take shots at this podcast always go for the name. They're like, we are ESO. Like, why you guys, we are ESO? Like, you guys don't represent ESO. You guys don't talk about PvE or trials or whatever. Like, you guys are thinking too much into the name. The name was just catchy and it was just easy for us to put together. And it's what we see ESO is to us, not to everyone else. We're not trying to like force our ideologies on you guys. So We Are ESO is just the name of the podcast. A lot of people get it mixed up and like assume we're like, oh, you know, this is what ESO is all about. You know, this is just what ESO is to us. So we should have named it This Is What ESO Is to Us podcast, but that doesn't have the same ring to it. So we just named it We Are ESO. So just wanted to point that out. It's just a name. I think that should be it for the night. It's a pretty long silence. No one answering any questions.
I was gonna cut Lefty off there.
You gonna cut me off?
Cut off his stare.
Yeah, he's been talking too much.
Sorry.
All right, guys. Our next podcast is not announced right now. I don't know if we're gonna be doing another one anytime soon. Like we said earlier, before we did our last podcast for the year, we're gonna do podcasts whenever something new happens or something changes where we can discuss it. We didn't have too much to discuss today because we covered most of it last time, and most of today was repetition and a few other details. But again, we probably won't be doing another podcast for some time. If there's ever a thing that comes up and we need to discuss it, we will. Our next podcast could be in a month. It could be when the Thieves Guild launches. It could be in 2 months. We don't know. But obviously you can follow everyone on their Twitch channel. Type in !casters in the chat. You can find Fangrush, Lefty, Richard, or you're already on my Twitch channel. So if you guys have any questions, you can always message these guys on their Twitch channels about builds. I'm sure Fangrush will love to help you with your Nightblade builds or Sorcerer builds, Templar, all that good stuff. He's a really experienced player, so go ask him questions about your builds. Don't ask me any more questions, please. Richard feels the same way.
Thank you for that, Cypher.
So no, seriously, guys, we really appreciate your support. I'm really happy with what we've done with this podcast. A lot of the changes that have came in or that are coming in, I feel is as a result of the community coming together and expressing their views on different things. And we will be back. We just don't know when we're going to be back. And until we are back, we will miss you guys a little bit. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Fangrush, Lefty, Richard, and Works. We'll see you guys in the near future, I guess. Are any of you guys streaming tonight?
Yeah, I'll be drinking. I think Richard's drinking.
Yeah,
Alright.
I'm just getting some food and then I'll be streaming.
These three guys are streaming. Sorry, I can't point. These three guys are streaming. I won't be streaming, but I'll be live tomorrow at 2 Central. So thank you guys so much for the podcast. Thank you, Works, for stopping by. Richard, Lefty, Fangrush. Have a great night, everyone.
Yep,
Thanks,
thank
guys.
you guys.
Thanks, guys.
For this one.
Later. Love you. Peace.